What is up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be reacting to a Murph's Y213 video. It's Murph's, he does a lot of kind of scenario content when it comes to 2K. He'll go through and he'll make his own like little stories of what goes on. Either way, we are doing something a little topical here with the recent Masked Man. I don't think it's going to be Jon Moxley, but we're going to watch a Jon Moxley type what WWE should do if Jon Moxley returns. Either way, he posted this 3 months ago. But yeah, no, I've been a big fan of Murph's for quite some time, and I'm happy to react to some of his content. You guys can react to the full version, and the link will be in the description below. Either way, also as well as you guys can watch my live reaction. You guys can watch it live with me the full way through over there on Twitch at Powerbomb Inc. You also can be involved in future polls over on Instagram about future games or whatever that we end up playing. Either way, make sure you go down below. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And here we
WrestleMania 43. Bron Breakker finally breaks out and destroys the man who took him under his wing and maintains
So it looks like
over year-long reign, and not only takes out his mentor in Rollins indefinitely, but he takes his wise man. And
so this could still happen, obviously not with Seth, but
winners. And now that they've buried the tribal chief, built a grave for the architect, Bron is going to be the most unscripted and violent beast he's ever had.
Also, can we talk about the promo Bron Breakker cut last night? It was last night in the stream, but still.
And it's an old clip of the Shield, with one face in particular blurred out, and then it stops. But it only stops because Bronson Reed is now here, and he wants blood and a title shot. Heyman also turned his back on him when he aligned solely with Breakker, and it's
okay.
But the brawl ends with Bronson Reed hitting Breakker with a familiar move. And Heyman, knowing
no callbacks,
every action has a reaction, uses Backlash as the perfect stage to fully unleash his new beast. He does. Breakker
big spine buster onto the ladder.
Violent, and he takes it to a whole other level. And
this is also another thing. I think Bron Breakker gonna be a massive star. I think we all already know that. But I've been a big fan of Bron Breakker for a minute now. Since he got called up, I think he's for sure gonna be one of my future favorites in the future. I mean, he's a favorite of mine now, but you know, I think he's probably my favorite outside of like people I grew up watching, like a Punk, like a Rollins, like a Cody even. But yeah, I think Breakker's doing immense work right now.
Reed is decimated in a haze of violence. However, there's a mystery onlooker in the stands, and it gets minds wandering. But it clearly wasn't the man who most thought it would be. Of course, being the wise man, he hears about it, and he sees the footage, and he says that whoever...
I thought about doing a 2K video too. A WWE 2K25 video.
That spotlight shines on them, they become a target for the most unscripted and...
I don't know, I'm pausing it a couple times, but I think before we fully get into it, we're a minute into a 15-minute video. I think the potential of a WWE 2K25 video is in the works. It is. And the main reason would be as to mainly kind of just explain why I don't want to do 2K content anymore, or WWE 2K content. And I'll go a lot more in depth about it. I just think that bare bones, everything it's pretty much the same every year. If I ended up doing it, I would go in and I would talk about the newer features in the game. Also, when WWE 2K26 comes out and comes around, I'll probably touch upon that. There will probably be a trailer video and whatever else, just kind of explaining what could be added new and what could excite me. But yeah, I don't know. I think for the most part, 2K games as of the last couple of years have been very copy paste, and I know that's kind of 2K's formula. It's kind of just any sports games formula. It sucks, and I'll get into a lot more depth about that here, and if I end up doing that video. But either way, back to the Murphs.
Violent man in wrestling, who on his command will demolish anyone in his path. But he says that they aren't hard to find. Just ask Bronson Reed, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
However, despite the warning, another challenge arises, and it's a big one.
Jacob fought too. What a match that would be. What a match.
Because he knows exactly the kind of threat that he poses. And he's
What a match.
from ringside as Breaker's
Potential future WrestleMania main event even.
Which takes us all the way to Money in the Bank, where they collide. And once again, Heyman draws out the animal in Breaker. But it's as this match is going on, the mysterious figure watches on once again from the darkest part of the arena. And this time, not alone. But what they watch is destruction, but in a different way.
Ooh.
The match gets blown apart.
Intercepted with a spear.
A man Breaker wiped out constantly over the last couple of years. And a man
so something I'm kind of hoping that's not a thing is if Mox were to return, I don't think I want him to be part of a Shield. I don't think I want him to be part of a Shield. Maybe at the beginning, sure. But I think move on a little bit from it.
And get the hell out of the way. But the threat being diverted won't always be the case. And Heyman knows it. He knows that the walls are closing in. But he also knows a little bit more about the men who were watching the destruction at Money in the Bank. And with Roman Reigns now fully occupied with another civil war heading towards SummerSlam, he wants to smoke out who the next threat will be. But perhaps they won't even need to be smoked out, because on the Tron we see another not so subtle video.
Would this be the way to go? Would it be the way to go?
What that was. And Heyman somewhat looks
the obvious return?
looks excited.
Is the obvious return the way to go? Or the build up? Or do we go more so of like a CM Punk return, where it's more so of just like, hey, you know, he might show up. He might show up. It's like the worst kept secret.
Since he was screwed out of it by Heyman and his goons. Sees this and Saturday night's main event as his chance to
clean attire for Punk.
Like
clean attire.
Who has stepped up, Heyman accepts the challenge and lets his beast loose again. And the youth being on
this is great production though. Great production.
Isn't getting any younger, but he is just as gritty as he's ever been, and he takes the fight head on. He's never been afraid to throw hands with anyone, especially.
I know how annoying like these different camera angles can be. Through Universe Mode, I don't know if you've been in the channel long enough, you'll know.
But instead of going down, Breaker.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
And now they're both down, and it's the more youthful Breaker who is able to crawl desperately to try and make the cover before again he gets dropped. But this time it's Rollins. It's another ghost from the
Does
past.
Rollins give Punk the victory? Surely not.
And Rollins is all over Breaker. He's desperately to get at the man who mauled him. But not only that, get at the man who orchestrated his downfall. But as he's about to go at Paul, he gets pulled in a
I was gonna say.
And leveled with a GTS by Punk, who much like Part 2 with Roman, is pissed that he got involved. And all over again, we see the hate-filled rivalry resume
Gotcha.
even years after it started. However,
I guess it wasn't a no DQ.
Two men, one of which people are very confident they know, but the other not so much. And we
who would the other one be? We got Mox. I feel like if it was someone major, like if it was Danielson, he would be included in the.
These measures not just to protect me from you people and whatever diseases you may all be carrying.
You better not carry over this one.
To protect me from that madman.
Heyman is furious. He's seen enough, and he breaks the silence on naming him. John, I know it's you.
Coming in as Mox.
That's right. I said it, and I'll say it again. John, enough of the bullshit games. You're a fighter, and Bron Breakker is a fighter. So now it's time to fight. Oh, and whoever you're with, I want to talk to you too. Heyman is full of fight,
Who'd he
full
be
of vigor,
with?
and the moment is drawing closer. You can feel it in the air.
Mox.
But as Heyman and Breakker get back to their now-defaced locker room, there is a note, and it's addressed to Heyman, and it reads, "Next week, just you and I, Paul." And it's signed, "A much wiser man."
Oh.
Heyman furiously
Maybe it's a
storms out
Regal?
to Breakker,
Maybe
and
it's
just
William?
looking at the defaced screen. knowing that the threat is probably closer than they even realize. And the tension ramps up even more when Heyman is advised to meet in an official interview setting for his face-to-face with this so-called much wiser man. And as he takes his position, the man walks in and Heyman stops, and he seems a little bit rattled. But the other man has refused to be on camera, so we can only go off Heyman's reaction. He says, "You weren't kidding. Much wiser indeed." But even the wisest minds make mistakes, and you've made your very first one by showing me who you are. You stepped into the spotlight, and now you're a target. X marks the spot, right? Well, it's firmly on you. And on my command, we will hunt you down, because we are in control, my friend. But the soft voice from the other side of the room says,
it's gotta be Regal.
"You like to control, Paul. I like to unleash." And he will be unleashed quicker than you think, my friend. Heyman, knowing exactly who it is,
has to be
won't
Regal,
say
right?
anything, but he likely won't
Has
have
to be Regal.
because the threat and the arrival is closer than ever as we approach SummerSlam. But things couldn't be any closer to boiling point because spot fires start all over
Roman
Raw,
Jacob.
with Roman and Fatu brawling on the stage. Rollins and Punk are fighting at ringside, and it all breaks down
Punk's
in the
still
middle of
going at it.
Heyman and Braun Breaker's segment. And they just
This is like next SummerSlam. This is like getting ready for next SummerSlam.
Little did they know, the spot fires are about to turn into a blazing, out of control inferno. Because the fights end up in the ring with Roman and Seth cleaning house, but they don't see Braun Breaker lining him up, and he's going to strike. But then the flames engulf WWE.
Here he is. Bang, clothesline over the top. Lunatic Fringe is back, baby. So, quick little thing. I think if Mox ever did come back, that would probably be the biggest return possible right now. Solely because of the Shield. Look, and Mox is a big name, right? John Moxley, Dean Ambrose, whatever. He's a big name. When it comes to other guys like returning, like a Chris Jericho or an Edge, those would be big returns for sure. But at the same time, we also know that both of them are nearing the very end of their career. We don't know how much longer Mox might have. I feel like if Mox were to return, it would be bigger than Cody's return, but at the same time, I don't think it would reach the levels of a CM Punk, of a 2020 Edge, just because, I mean, those were more so just like burnt bridges or just never, ever going to happen. I think Mox, he left on bad terms for sure, and he's happy in AEW now. I mean, if he's happy, I want him to stay wherever he's happy, but if the chance ever does arrive where he can go back to WWE, I think, like I said, it would be one of the biggest returns in recent memory. I think it's like, as of right now, the one last big return, because there's nobody else. I mean, AJ Lee just returned. There's nobody else that we think, or that I can think of, unless you guys can think in the comments of who would match the level of anticipation for a return. I kind of just have to hope, in a way, that if his contract ends in AEW in 2027, that Roman and Seth are still kicking it, because if Mox were to come back, he would have to face one, if not both of them. I mean, and I'm sure there's other people he would have to face too. I would like to see him face Punk. And all these people, they're getting older. I'd like to see him face Cody. All these people are getting older, so the time would have to be right just to do it near the end of all these guys' careers. But yeah. So I think, like I said, Mox is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, return that could still potentially happen. This would be nuts. This would be nuts.
As electric a moment as we've ever seen, but it doesn't last because they all immediately separate and go after their own individual rivals. But Moxley is clearly not the man he was.
Gotcha.
He's unhinged, unscripted, and violent. He pulls out the most insane-looking weapon and walks Bron Breakker down the ramp with it, setting the tone for everything. And Breakker gets out of dodge and waits for his moment to strike, but that moment does arrive several times in the weeks to come because they go back and forth trying to turn up the violence, and they do it in the ring, but also at ringside.
Big spine buster.
But it's not always even in the arena either.
Oh.
And it completely
That's another thing that I enjoy quite a bit about WWE 2K25 is the different background or backstages.
With any kind of weapon they could get their hands on.
I think it was a good addition that they did.
But Moxley doesn't care. And Paul confronts Triple H and Adam Pearce, wanting to know if Moxley is even signed, let alone being held accountable. And Triple H says he is signed, and it was negotiated by his special counsel, which makes Heyman furious, but also makes him brace for more chaos. And they get chaos in Bron Breakker's allotted time on the show, because he and Moxley are no longer allowed in the same building at the same time.
Gotcha.
However, the self-proclaimed much wiser man is. Heyman wants to talk.
It's got to be regal.
He doesn't.
It's got to be regal, right?
However, his presence is still felt because while he doesn't show up, Moxley does. And he breaks all the rules put in place by management again. He couldn't care less. And he's
very fitting. It is very fitting.
Off the handle. And it's clear that the man Heyman was calling out has outsmarted him. And he snuck Moxley in before management puts security in place. Boom. And it's during this fight that Breakker makes the challenge. He wants Moxley at SummerSlam for the world title, and he doesn't want any rules. He wants to end him, and the crowd loves it. It's what they truly want. But it's while management look on in disgust, Moxley cracks Breakker across the ribs with a barbed wire baseball bat, and then he fires off on every member of security that has been sent down to deal with him. And Heyman is furiously arguing with Triple H and Adam Pearce. He's telling them to get things under control. But it's then Moxley approaches, and of course, Heyman dips out.
Yeah, you're dipping out.
Are you serious, Moxley? We bring you back, and this is what you do. This isn't at all what we agreed. And Moxley doesn't have words. He just has a gesture for his boss. This isn't the same man who was here years ago. This is unhinged, unscripted Jon Moxley, and he walks out of the building to a huge ovation with a title match at SummerSlam. And now, naturally, attention turns to the man who is orchestrating all of this and setting the anarchy free. Well, Moxley gives us an insight on the eve of SummerSlam when he throws a pile of clothes from his past in a trash can. You ever hear the one about the prodigal son? He comes home. They throw a big party. Everybody's happy he's back. Yeah,
Darn
that
it.
ain't me.
Cody?
I didn't come back here to shake hands. I didn't come back here to play nice. I came back here to kill off the last ghosts of who I used to be. You see this in this trash? This is Dean Ambrose you remember. The lunatic fringe, the goofy jacket, the scripted punchlines, the dumbass jokes.
I enjoyed the
Dean
jokes.
Ambrose is dead.
I enjoyed the jokes.
Shield
I'm not gonna
is
lie.
dead, and Jon
I
Moxley
love Dean
has
Ambrose,
never been
dude.
more alive. And Jon Moxley doesn't take orders from anyone. Not Hunter, not Pearce, not Paul Heyman. Not even the man who brought me back to WWE. The much wiser man, yeah.
It's gotta be regal.
He sure is. And he knows just how dangerous I can be. But Paul, you say Bron Breakker is unscripted. Well, considering where you come from, that surprises me. But now you're a suit. And that's the whole problem. The reason I'm back is to burn those scripts. And if Bron Breakker is the fire starter, then so be it. No disqualification, no rules, no script, and they demolish each other right out of the gate. This one gets ugly, and ugly fast. They're in the crowd. They're on the stage. But it's as the match gets into its final stages, the Oracle wants to protect his asset, his winner as he stated months ago, and he distracts Moxley, and Breaker nails him in the back and knocks him down, and now sets up a table in the corner, and he's gonna end it just like he did Rollins at WrestleMania. And he runs off, but Moxley moves, and Breaker crashes through the table. But Moxley is still hurt, and they're both down, so Heyman needs to act, and he goes to grab a chair, just like he has before.
Come on.
There's a foot on it, and Heyman looks up, and realizes it's William.
Yeah. Yeah. Called that.
Madness of Moxley, and he laces Heyman with a shot to the jaw, and then casually picks up the chair. But he has a second thought, and he says no. He throws the chair down because he has something else. And he hands Moxley
brass knucks.
And Moxley, with the little energy that he has left, rocks Breaker in the jaw. And then he lifts him up and drops him with a paradigm shift on the rubble.
Cover.
And Moxley
One,
cleanses himself
two,
of his past in WWE. And with Regal freeing the madness of Moxley, the reign of manufactured villains ends here, and the era of unscripted begins.
W video. Great video. This is probably the way that they should bring back Jon Moxley. And if not this way, something similar. If Jon Moxley, for whatever reason, ends up coming back, as someone who started watching 2011, big time Shield fan, kind of just grew up with the Shield. Jon Moxley, when the Shield broke up, Ambrose was my favorite at the time, and like I said earlier on in the video, I think Mox would be the biggest last return possible as of right now, because in recent memory we got Edge. We got Punk, we got AJ Lee, we got Cody, we got, you know what I mean? We got a lot of big-time names, and I think there's still potential big-time returns, debuts even. I think if an MJF debuted, it would be ground-shaking. I think if Jon Moxley were to return, though, it would be ground-shaking. That'd be it. So, either way, thank you all for watching. Make sure you go down below. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. The full video will be in the link in the description below. You can watch me react to it live, over on Twitch at Powerbomb Inc. You can watch that live next time we react to another video. But yeah, either way, have a good day, have a good night, whatever time it is for you, and goodbye.